right, we're here with Coach Robbie Hill, the University of San Diego. Hey, Robbie, nice to see you again.
Great to see you.
Right on. Hey, Robbie, now that you're in sports management, what do you appreciate most about growing up in a sports family?
Yeah, I think I appreciate the most just the number one, the competitive side of things. Every single thing, whatever I was doing, I was always encouraged to be competitive, but also more importantly, what it instills in your character. I know being in a sports family is different than a normal family because it's a lot of travel, my dad being the head coach, it's a lot of different things going on, but what I learned is, number one, just consistent effort over time in everything I do, and that's going to help shape who I am today.
All right, Robbie, hey, how do you describe the coaching behavior philosophy with the Torero baseball program?
Absolutely. So I think it's just on and off the field, character development. I think that what we focus on at the Torero baseball camps is the cultivation of the intellect, the mental game. It's so easy to come out here and go through the motions. What we focus on is more about the why, and why, what it really takes to field a ground ball. All goes back to why we do what we do, and we do that I think by just empowering all the kids that come here, making them feel good, but also focusing on process-oriented praise versus task-oriented praise.
So, Robbie, why do you think your summer camps here at USD that you're running also are growing year to year despite incredible direct competition?
Yeah, I think when we look at every other camp's going to want to provide an experience, but we customize an experience. We want to make sure that people come here, they're having fun, but at the same time they're leaving being a better ball player. I know me, I'm involved more on the sales side of things and growing these camps, and I know time and time again we hear nothing but good things about it. And hey, I'm getting videotaped by you guys right here, so obviously I think we did something right.
That's right, we travel a long way.
That's right, 5,000 miles.
That's right. So Robbie, lastly, I really am amazed on how you and your coaches remember everyone at these camps. What are the things that you do to make sure you personally acknowledge everyone?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is that our staff works on focusing on core confidence. We want the same thing with every single player. So we give each other nicknames. Me, yeah, my name's Robbie, but my camp name is Rockstar Robbie. We make sure, number one, that we know everyone's name, because if they feel empowered, they're going to want to get better, they're going to want to be better. Not only that though, but they're going to want to kind of do a ripple effect and make everybody around them better. So we just really focus on, hey, this guy's name, and having that spread, just so camp's not only going to run smoothly, but our business grows as well.
So thank you very much, and thanks for making all the athletes want to be encouraged to come back the next day.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure.
Right on, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're here with Austin Green, former Torero baseball star, and now with the Detroit Tigers.
Yes, sir.
All right, congratulations on all the success. Here at the HOF, we're always interested in what keeps you going, right? And obviously playing professional, you've kept going for a while. What was the greatest coaching memory you've had up to now on your journey to professional baseball?
That's a good question. I can't think of one specific memory, but I can think of many coaches who have had a huge impact on my life. My college coach, Rich Hill, hitting coach, Jay Johnson, pitching coach, Tyler Kincaid, Eric Valenzuela, Mark Villamontes. That's the whole USD staff that was here while I was here, and they helped shape me and mold me into who I am now during those 18-year-old to 22-year-old years, and I'll just never forget the USD experience.
Those are tough years.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So, how would you describe your coaching experience from a coach's behavioral perspective when you were at the University of San Diego?
Oh, awesome. They were definitely disciplinarians, so if we were out of line, we would get told we were out of line, but that helped us grow, helped us learn, and they also loved on us at the same time. They encouraged us to be better people, be better players, so it was an amazing experience.
What would you say the main differences you've witnessed between professional and amateur when it comes to coaching on the behavior side?
I think in one word, the intimacy is the relationships that you build with your coaches during college. In professional baseball, it's a little more individualized in the sense that you're kind of on your own unless you ask for help. The coaches don't necessarily get to know you as well as they do in college. They don't know your family like they do in college. So it's very different. But yeah, I mean, college was fantastic in regards of building a lifelong relationship.
So, Austin, lastly, what do you feel is the most important thing that you keep top of mind when you are now coaching amateur athletes in camps like this?
Just the impact that we have. Each moment that we have with a person, we can either affect them positively or negatively, and we'd like to keep most of those positive. So just remembering that these kids look up to us, and we'll help molding them into the people that they're going to be one day.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for being a great baseball camp coach. The campers really enjoyed having you. I know my son did. So. All right, we're here at the University of San Diego with head baseball coach Rich Hill. Coach, great to see you again.
Great to see you guys. Thanks for allowing me to be part of your program.
Congratulations on another great Torero season. Tell us a little bit about your coaching career to date.
Well, I started when I was 24, and now it is 30 years later. So coaching is very dear to me. Like I said, I started at a young age, had to figure out a lot of things, what works, what doesn't work. I've been at Cal Lutheran University, which was went from NAIA to Division III. I've been at the University of San Francisco, which was, a program in desperate need of rebuilding at the time that I got there. And then at USD, same thing, kind of a rebuilding phase, and now we're, inside the top 25 for a month. We've arguably the best player in baseball, Chris Bryant, is an alum here, and we're doing some great things. But it's been a journey, and it's not without its twists and turns and valleys and peaks. But I love the profession.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Coach, let's discuss your coaching philosophy with respect to coaching behavior. As you know, in the HOF Hall of Fame coaching program, the first survey question is about encouraging the athlete to want to come back the very next day. How do you and your staff plan for this year to year?
Well, I think you just said it. I mean, the word encouragement, to encourage, just one sentence of encouragement to anyone, really, not just a player or a camper or a student athlete or somebody on your team, can really go a long way. A compliment can inspire. So, I mean, you're really talking about leadership. Coaching is about, among other things, getting the most out of your players, getting the most out of your coaching staff. So I believe the best coaches are the best leaders. There's a pyramid of John Wooden's, success up there, and he didn't really talk about winning. And you'll hear me say this throughout the interview: coaching from the inside out. When you really can build a relationship, with a player, with a student athlete, with anyone really, they'll do anything for you. And if you can show them that you care, that goes a long way, and that's what just keeps bringing people back. I also believe on the other side of it, the physical part of it, that skill set development. Kids, especially ages 5 through high school, 5 through 100 actually, really want to play, participate in things that they're good at, that they can have success at. That keeps bringing them back. So I think as coaches, we have to put our guys in an environment that is enthusiastic, that is high energy, and that really promotes success, on an incremental basis. When people have success and they enjoy what they're doing a lot more.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah, Coach. At the HOF we point out that if athletes aren't personally acknowledged, they may just pick up and quit at any level. How do you acknowledge everyone? You got a big team here.
It's in our DNA, as human beings. It's not, restricted to a player coach relationship. I think we were meant, to be in a community, as human beings. The more that you can acknowledge on a personal level, the more that you can encourage on a personal level, the more that you can give feedback on that personal level, the better the whole experience and the better the relationship will be. The best managers in Major League Baseball, Buck Showalter comes to mind. We had a player here, Brian Mattis, played for Buck.
Here at USD that you're running also are growing year to year despite incredible direct competition.
Yeah, I think when we look at every other camp's going to want to provide an experience, but we customize an experience. We want to make sure that people come here, they're having fun, but at the same time, they're leaving being a better ball player. I know me, I'm involved more on the sales side of things and growing these camps, and I know time and time again, we hear nothing but good things about it. And hey, I'm getting videotaped by you guys right here, so obviously I think...
HOF, we speak of growing the village. How have you been so successful in building not only the USD Baseball Village, but the San Diego Baseball Village?
It's a culture, and specifically the USD baseball culture is built on the things that you're talking about. It is coaching from the inside out. It's relationship building. It is creating a positive environment that is centered around enthusiasm. It is all about a growth mindset, and that's, not easy. But when you go through these things, these stages as players here at USD, you go through some hard things, and like anything, there's all kinds of sacrifice and commitment, and it takes some perseverance to get through. When you do that, you bond with the guys on the team and with the coaches. And you have a special sense of family that doesn't go away. So that goes from the year to year, and the older guys take over, teach the younger guys, and it just becomes this big mushroom cloud, of what we're all about here at USD, and our identity and what's important to us. And it's not about the trophies in the other room, because those gather dust. It's about the brotherhood that is USD baseball. When we see each other, we hug. It's not a handshake or what's up. It's because it's that emotional of a thing that we go through. So building a culture in anything should be number one. In a business, if you're an elementary school teacher, if you're an elementary school principal, if you're a college baseball coach, football coach, or wherever, the culture has got to be number one. As far as building a brand in USD or kind of growing a village, you just saw we're doing the nickel speech, and a shiny nickel represents the great teammate. So we have an opportunity to, for the last 20 years, speak to over 300 kids growing up in San Diego. So it becomes a ministry, and I can have an impact on some of these kids ages 5 through 15 on a yearly basis, to where they put that nickel up on their mirror. Some kids come back and say, hey, I've got 6 of them, I still have my nickel on my mirror, I'm 18 years old, I was here, 12 years ago, so that's pretty cool. So you just never know who you're going to impact, The other thing, I know it's a long answer, but
it's all good.
I make our players, be a Little League coach. They are, part of them being in our program is that when they are a dad, and like you said, it's easy to be a father, but hard to be a dad and a parent, they will be coaching their youth, their kids' youth teams, whether it be girls soccer, boys basketball, whatever it may be, because of the things that they learn in our program, the things that they'll be able to take out and really have an impact on young people. So we're making an impact here in the community, and after 30 years we have all of these guys out there coaching in all of these youth leagues, running summer camps and telling the same stories and doing the same crazy things that we did here. So that's the legacy. 100 years from now, there's going to be people around walking this earth, that had an impact from what we were doing. The trophies in there, they'll be disintegrated, you know.
Sure.
So
That's excellent.
yeah, hardest thing to really judge in recruiting is makeup. You know, you can't really tell what's going to happen once we put the uniforms on. The lights go on and they hear their name over the loudspeaker and cross that white line. You know, some kids really aren't ready for that emotionally, mentally. Other kids thrive in that type of environment and they love the competition and they can make adjustments on the fly. So everybody's at kind of a different emotional / mental level. In the recruiting process, there are things that stand out, and I'm not sure the kids even really understand this. They should have people telling them this, that, you know, I look at a pitcher when the shortstop makes an error. How does he react? You know, how does the shortstop react when he makes an error? Is it, hey, we'll get the next one, me and you on the double play, let's go, there's one out, you know, pounding the glove, we're ready? Or is it shrugging the shoulders? You know, it's bad body language, same thing on the mound. At the plate, same thing. You know, does a hitter look back at the umpire, you know, on a borderline pitch? Is he show bad body language when it comes to failure? So I guess in a nutshell, it's how these guys are going to react to failure, how they are with their teammates, how they are in the dugout, what time they get to the field, how they're dressed. Do they have visible jewelry? Do they have this? You know, so there's all kinds of things that go into this character makeup thing. And every single coach that's coaching was kind of a grinder, you know, and they probably weren't the elite big league player, so we had to figure it out, you know. So we kind of gravitate towards that kid who's just a hustler, the yes or no sir type of guy that's, you know, all about the team, very unselfish, and the things that we all aspire to be.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know, we see reminders in this beautiful complex of all the great USD baseball alumni that play or have played in the MLB. How do you ensure that the ones that don't make it still feel part of the village?
Well, that's a given. You know, when you are 8 years old and you go to bed at night dreaming, you know, of playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, you know, and the Seattle Mariners, and you know, it's the last thing you think about and the first thing you think about. So, you know, you need to be that dream chaser, and as a coach, you need to just stoke that fire, you know. There's dream killer coaches out there too, dream killer parents. Hey, have a fallback plan. It's hard to make it. The odds are against you. Go, you know, do all these kinds of things, and it's just that negative energy that gets into these kids' minds. So we say, yeah, there's all kinds of examples to point to in the major leagues of guys that didn't make their high school team. There's, you know, so let's go for it. Be as good as you can be, and the only way that there is failure is if you quit. That's it. It's the only way, in my mind, that's the only time anybody fails. You know, so there's going to be a point in time when your skill set is not going to be there. I don't care who you are. You know, Willie Mays can't play right now. He's 90 years old or whatever. So it's going to happen to everybody, but let somebody else take the uniform off your back. Now, I am just as proud of our guys that are out in the community, married kids, great jobs. They married these great girls from USD. They're out there coaching their little league team, the travel ball team, the girls soccer team, and are very active in their church, you know, active in the community. So for me to see that and hold their little babies, you know, and for them to come back to alumni games, that's what it's all about. You know, it's fun to go see Chris Bryant and Brian Mattis, you know, on the same field, and a former player of mine, Michael Borzello, right next to Joe Madden, you know. But it's equally as cool to see what these other guys that aren't big league players are doing in their lives. They are just kicking butt. So it's all the same, and we all respect what each other is doing.
You know, Coach, during a high school prospect camp held here last September, where actually my oldest son attended, there were a lot of anxious parents. You may or may not remember what you said in the opening statement, but you said, "Welcome to San Diego. the closest thing to paradise. Enjoy the day, the facilities, and celebrate your kids. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
That was very powerful as it set the tone and eased some of the anxieties of the parents and players. You know, what else do you tell parents who are maybe a little over anxious about their kids making it or breaking it at such an early age?
Well, again, that's another long question. You know, I mean, my wife is the best, in my opinion, you know, at the child development, child psychology, very active in our church and works a lot with parents, and I've really learned a lot from her. But, you know, as a parent, you know, I think, you know, that our number one job, I mean, there's one there's a lot of number one jobs, but it is to put your child in an environment where they can really flourish, you know, so a growth mindset by the parents. And really just be a dream stoker, you know, that's what I call it. And these kids, you know, they shouldn't have any limitations on what they feel they can accomplish. I encourage parents not to build a fence around their kids and feed them with things that are negative, and just be very, very supportive in everything that they're doing. Encourage them in all of their likes, in all of their passions, and just be there. You know, time is the number one thing that you could give your kid, and support. And believe me, all those kids at that prospect camp, you know that their mom, their dad, their grandma, their grandpa, their cousin, their aunt, their uncle is sitting in the stands drinking a Starbucks coffee and watching them, and that makes people feel good. You know, so I try to get that message across to parents. Again, there's a lot of different agendas with parents, you know, and especially it gets to the high school level, money becomes involved, which is directly equated to scholarships. But I think what it really boils down to is they just want the best for their kid, and they want to, you know, get their kid in the best environment.
Oh, that's awesome. That is, you know, your son Robbie has been working with you with the youth camps and doing an amazing job. He said it is awesome. You might not know this, but he told us yesterday it's awesome to be working here and with you. What does that mean to you?
Well, it feels great. You know, I'm very blessed, very fortunate. You know, we talk a lot in our program about the get-tos versus the have-tos, you know, and so many people right now are stuck on the freeway, you know, in the 405, the 5, where everyone's saying, man, I have to sit in traffic. Wait a minute, you get to sit in traffic. You know, I was just down in Costa Rica where no one has a car. You know, everybody walks through the village. And I was in Mexico building houses with our team last year where there's no toilet, there's no shower, there's no electricity, there's no running water. And people were living on cardboard floors, you know, with a tent over their head, you know, with little kids. So I have to go work out, you know. Well, you get to go work out because somewhere there's a 13-year-old kid with no legs, you know, and there's a 12-year-old kid that's got cancer and is terminally ill. So the get-tos versus the have-tos are huge, you know, for our young people to really, you know, grasp. And I get to be around my son every day, you know, and see his smile, and it's not going to last forever, you know. So every minute that I have with him and be able to see him interact with little kids and his girlfriend's here, and we're just, I love it, man. And I love going to dinner with him and hearing about his life and just being around him. So not only is, you know, he's my son, he's a cool guy to kind of be around. So it's just one of those really good relationships.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, you talked about the nickel talk, and you just did that on the field. We taped it. I think my boys have up to 6 of them.
Nice.
6 nickels,
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Sweet.
In their room. You know, walk us through what that means when people come up to you and say, you know what, I remember, like you said,
Yeah.
I got one 5 years ago or 12 years ago, or
That's the reward. That is the reward, you know. When Kevin Hansen, you know, comes by with his beautiful wife and their baby daughter, you know, and you know it's like they're really proud, you know, and they're both doing great in their jobs. And Luke Roniger who is one of the most prestigious law firms in New York City, just got married. My boy Logan Gelbrick up in Venice, doing his thing with the Deuce Gym, and he's writing a book. And Chris Bryant in the major leagues, and James Pazos and Paul Sewald, and 24 players in the minor leagues. That is the reward, And when a high school senior comes up to me and says, "I was in your camp when I was 8 years old, and I had the 3 nickels up there," that kind of it hits you in your gut, like, whoa, man, they were listening. I made some kind of an impact, on being a great teammate, on being unselfish, on being on time, on being dressed the right way, on encouraging your teammates, on being a good friend, So they're looking at those nickels every day as they brush their teeth, and maybe it's just a little bit of a reminder to be that shining star when they walk out of their front door. So that's, like I said, that is the reward for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? On behalf of the HOF Village, thank you for walking it every day and sharing your thoughts. Always a pleasure, Coach. Thank you.
Awesome.
Very much.
Thank you guys. It's my honor to be here with you guys. Thank you.
Right on. Thanks, Coach.
We're going to build a team. And I want you to come up here right now. Now, what is that? Show the people. It's a dime. Is it pretty shiny? It's pretty shiny. Go ahead and sit down, buddy. Great job. So this dime, right, is extremely shiny. What this dime represents, and there's quarters in here and nickels. And I had to go to the bank to get them in a roll because that's how they become shiny, right? So this shiny dime represents the player, right, that never gives up. It represents the player that is going to be encouraging to the other teammates. It's going to represent the player that doesn't argue with the umpire, that doesn't look at the scoreboard, right? And that considers friendship to be very important. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a team with these shiny coins. You guys ready? All right, here we go. Take a knee so you can see this thing. We got shiny quarters. Look at this, huh? Look at all of that, wow. That is a strong team, very strong, right there, all right? Thanks, buddy. Go ahead and sit back down, please. Couple more. Look at that, guys. We got a strong tower full of teammates that are on the same page, that are doing things the right way, that are absolutely encouraging each other. Now, I want you to stand up again. What is this thing? A taco penny. This is a bent nickel. This is the guy or the girl that wants to argue with the umpire, that wants to be discouraging to his teammate, that is all about himself, very selfish, doesn't care about the team, only his batting average or his statistics as a pitcher. He doesn't show up on time, right? He doesn't really care. He doesn't stand the right way, right? He doesn't look at his coaches the right way, right? He might talk back to his parents. He doesn't really listen to his teacher in school. This is the guy that's the bent nickel. Now, let's see if we can put this bent nickel on here. We can carry that guy. You guys are going to surround him and make him better. All right? This is going to be challenging. Now it's going to be challenging to get another guy. All right, right here. All right, that's going to fall. Barely falling, and man, what happened? The team broke down. That tower that we built with those shiny nickels, and the thing crumbled. It's like that sandcastle you built at the beach and the tide came in and washed it all away. All right, so I'm going to give you a homework assignment right now. I'm going to give everybody in this camp a shiny coin. All right? And what I want you to do is you're going to go home. and you're gonna tape this shiny coin, nickel, dime, or a quarter, to your bathroom mirror. All right, now every day when you get up and you brush your teeth, and you're getting ready to go to school or your practice, you're gonna look at that shiny coin, and that's gonna represent you being that outstanding teammate today. You're never gonna give up, no matter what, no matter how bad it looks. Right? You're gonna encourage your classmates and your brother and your sister and your teammates. You're gonna burn lasers through your parents' eyes when you're listening to them, and your teacher and your coach. You're not gonna look at the scoreboard, you're just gonna keep your head down and do the absolute best you can do. That is what that coin is gonna represent on your mirror. You guys got it? Yeah! 2 claps. Good job. How many guys are gonna go home and do that? Put it on a mirror. That's a great idea, Pistol Pete. Here's the sad part. Okay, you can put your hands down. The sad part of this thing is that only half of you will really do it. Only half of you will remember, right, to go home and to be that shiny coin out there in the rest of your life. But that's okay, because the half of you that do it, those are my kind of players. Those are Toreros. Those are San Diego Padres. Those are the guys who go out and they make a difference on their team. You guys did a great job this week. All right? Give yourself a hand. 2 claps.